Testing 1, 2. All right. I am just outside testing my setup here. White light is with the Celestron C8 with a basically Baader Solar Film white light filter. Camera is a LPI, Meade LPI imager. This is the application, the AutoStar application that is used to do the imaging here for the white light. And I am just trying to find out, there's a nice sunspot group here. Looks like this is 1598, which is coming on the limb here, which looks really, really great as far as a sunspot goes. Very, very cool coming up here on the limb. Now I'm going to move this here around, and let's see if we can get to a different area here. Of course, I'm just testing this out mostly just to see how everything flows, if I should use the Minicam as my primary program or what. So anybody chiming in here, you can just enjoy me talking for a bit, but I am mostly just kind of testing out how this all will kind of go together. Here's a nice sunspot group. I'm trying to get it centered in here. Let me change my motor speed. I think it's too fast. Kind of jumping around. Little sunspot group there. That's too bad. There we go. This is a nice little group too. This looks like this is 1596. Active region 1596 here. Alright, so next up I'm going to, and forgive the wind, yes, I'm outside, so it might be coming through on the microphone with a little wind here. Alright, so next up I'm going to go ahead and switch screens here and go to hydrogen alpha light. Now this scope is not perfectly aligned with the white light, just using it on a piggyback. This is a Coronado SolarMax II and a DMK, imaging source DMK camera here. Now you'll notice that as I move the image here, it should auto expose. Let's get that back in here. Why is that actually not? It's funny, the first time I've used this now in the Hangout, doesn't seem to be auto-exposing. So that's interesting. So let's up the exposure a bit. Wonder if it's because Minicam. Okay, let me close Minicam here, just in case Minicam is playing around or conflicting with this somehow. Huh. Okay, well that's interesting. Can't. Yeah, I think Minicam, starting up Minicam, mess with this pretty much. So let's close this out. Let's go back to my screen share. Let me share the white light screen again here. Let me get back to, and my alignment obviously is not spot on because things are kind of moving. Oh, and plus as I adjust the, like I said, the hydrogen alpha scope is not exactly aligned with the white light. because I don't have any type of guide scope alignment on it. It's just sitting on a piggyback on top of the telescope. All right, so let me try to figure out what I can do here for back to the imaging source IC capture program and see what we got. Auto exposure was working really well. Yeah, see, it's back. Oh, okay, so obviously starting up Manycam as this is going. So I need to make a mental note of that. Back into my screen share, and we are now screen sharing the hydrogen alpha portion of my setup. So let's see if it gets interesting. Back into auto exposure is not picking it up. Let me go back in here. Need to select auto exposure. It's still noise reduction. All right, well, I can use the slider. All right, so for some reason, auto exposure wasn't going back up here. But this, I believe, are the two groups of sunspots that we saw in white light, oriented, yes, a bit differently. This is 1596 more in the center here, and 1598, the active regions on the sun, in hydrogen alpha. And we will go back to the Hangout and see if I can flip back to, obviously the 60 millimeter objective is giving me a wider field of view than the 8, and I might change that up here as I am playing around with this setup today. But let's scoot around with hydrogen alpha actually more. Okay, so there are some wonderful prominences, but you can see these dark spots are obviously the active regions, the sunspots. These darker kind of lines are, I don't know if you can make these out, but you see them almost vertical there. Those are filaments, and you actually have some, it looks like, in this active region there that was more on the limb. Those are prominences that we're seeing edge on, apparently, from my understanding. Of course, all the different granulization that you see. Now I'm going to scoot this out of the field of view, and there we go. Now we're picking up. We're going to try to pick up. There's another sunspot region. I'm going to try to pick up. There we go. There is a prominence there. Really nice looking prominence, too, on the edge here. Lots of interesting twists and detail within that. And how I'm getting these is just moving the view. Looks like it's back to, let me set it, it's interesting, it's almost like it's back to auto, but I didn't check auto. There's auto's checked now. So it's overexposing it. Let me get to a good, there we go, good kind of medium place here. There we go. This is a mono camera. By the way, the imaging source DMK21, it is mono. So it's not going to have color in it. Of course, if we were looking through this through the telescope, it would be a very deep orange, borderline red. So let's scoot around the edge here. See a lot of, oh, there's another grouping of quite a bit of prominences here at the bottom limb. Let's hang here for a bit. Let's go around the entire surface here just to see what's going on. It's interesting how it changes the, there we go. We'll go more on the limbs here, see if we can pick up, there we go, popping out some of the, it's almost like a vertical prominence there, almost like a tornado coming off from the sun. That's pretty cool. See if I can adjust. Here we go. We'll adjust some other. This is the auto reference there in the imaging source software that brought out that very tall prominence there, and almost the rectangular or triangular prominence. The one in the middle almost has some vertical structure to it as well. Okay, so let's let's go back up sector the sun here and see what else we can find. Ooh, another nice tall prominence. I'm interested here in seeing, okay, so there's the sunspot or the active region there. Let's go up to that location. See if there's anything. I don't see anything at all actually from the active region location. But obviously here's a very easy prom to pick out. You can really see the tracking here is not great. Alright, so let's continue all the way around, see what other interesting proms that we can see. Here's one coming up here, I can tell. Oh yes, now that's cool. Now you see that is part of a filament there, and obviously I think that filament is showing up as that slight raised region there on the edge of the sun as a prominent prom. Let's go get that a little bit. Okay, let me adjust auto reference. Makes it very bright. I'm using auto exposure, as I've said. Of course, if I manually tweak it, it's really far. I'll go back to auto expose. All right, let's go back to full disk, or as much full disk as I can get. Interesting that it didn't. Okay, let me adjust it manually. Let's see how we can go. Can almost go ahead and just dynamically show you a quarter, maybe, well, maybe half of the sun here, and just cycle through. That's pretty neat. That's probably probably a better way to do it than the way I was doing it before. Get this somewhat adjusted here and really cycle through some of the exposure. And then look at that prom over there. That's huge. Wow, that is a huge prom. And we'll slowly go back. One more thing I'm going to do while I'm videoing here is adjust the Eidolon, it's called. This is not me adjusting the exposure on the camera, but the Eidolon on the actual scope itself. You can kind of see how the surface detail changes a little bit as we tune it for hydrogen alpha. Okay. I'm going to go back to white light. If I can get back to the window here. Okay, we're going to get back to white light next here by screen sharing my program that is used for the AutoStar LPI imager. And yes, it's not 100% aligned with the hydrogen alpha scope is not 100% aligned with the main scope that it's piggybacked on. So I do have to find areas of interest and readjust. We'll go back to that one sunspot group. Okay, I'm going to leave it on the white light filter while I'm going to test out for the very first time using a Barlow with the SolarMax II. Dirty Barlow II. Wow, a lot of stuff on the lens. I think I got the most of it. Next to part of this device, if you will, or telescope, is that it is a helical focus, so it's very different from what I've been used to on the traditional telescope, maybe rack and pinion focus, etc. Image is going to shake here as I move this kind of out a bit manually, and then we will tighten it down, and then I can use the much easier to adjust. I'm going to move the main scope so everybody viewing white light there will be kind of bumped off for a minute while I try to change this and focus it. I'm going to go back to my Google Hangout here, if anybody's watching that. Just testing, but and I'll show you where I'm at here with that. So we're now back on hydrogen alpha, and I'm going to try and focus this now with 2 times Barlow. For the very, very first time. I've never used the Barlow yet with this setup. So I'm really trying to achieve optimal focus while still there we go, there's a sunspot region. Let me try to focus with that one. Again, this is hydrogen alpha light. And I know it's shaking quite a bit here as I really try to achieve as best focus as I can. I think I had it back there a little bit better. Okay, I'm thinking that's that is my focus. Oops. Try one more time here. Of course, it's boiling because it is daytime. Well, let's see. Let's go back to autofocus or auto exposure. Not sure why it won't. But let's go to a filament, or let's go to that big prom and see what we can see here. Oops. Much narrower field of view, so I'm trying now just to find the prom. There it is, I think. That's probably not it. Looking for that much larger much larger prom that we had earlier. There's a nice loop. There it is. Wow. Let me see what I can brighten the gain. There we go. Just in the gain now, as I kind of learn my way how to get this adjusted. Let's just try to see if I can get better focus with it. Just seems like it's a little bit wants to show us a little bit more. There we go. That looks pretty good to me. Okay. Let's see if I can noise reduction. I'll get some captures of this, obviously, because it's the first time that I've been doing anything remotely this power, so I'm very curious to see what we can get. Tonight's episode, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the DMK21 first impressions. I've had the first time to use the scope and this camera a couple times during this week, today being the best weather of the week too. Actually, last night I was able to use the camera on Jupiter, got a good image of Jupiter, really good image of Jupiter with it, and of course trying to see what it can do for imaging on the sun. So we are going to go ahead and try both. Really, it is the SolarMax II has been pretty good. Yes, there are some things to get used to with focusing with the helical focuser, but overall, not too bad. Not too bad at all. This seems to be holding this image up pretty well. Definitely can see some structure in that prom. Very big prom. Not sure exactly the scale of it yet. Got about 715 frames so far captured with the imaging source 2.2 software. And I'll experiment with image processing later on, but very cool little detail here. Get about maybe 1,000 frames, and then I'll process that. About 900 now. Beautiful looking prom. Wow. Almost strings of material in there. All right, we are at 1,000, so I'm going to stop that. Okay, I think I've tested out everything that I wanted to go ahead and test today for the Hangout. Anybody that happened to have been in here, appreciate you hanging out. Hopefully tonight we'll have a virtual star party. I can do the same thing with the moon.